1000万 MLB 翻訳選手チャンネルへようこそ。リグレーフィールドの開幕戦で輝いた今永昇太をご紹介します。7回3分の1を投げ、わずか4安打1失点、四球ゼロという鮮やかな投球術。特に高めに投げる速球と低めのスプリッターの組み合わせは打者を完全に翻弄していました。チームメイトからも彼の球は実際より速く感じると言われる不思議な魅力。今回は詳しく解説している番組を日本語翻訳をしてお届けします。ぜひチャンネル登録とあなたのご感想をコメントまでお願いいたします。
Cubs said not on our watch, specifically that man right there, the throwing philosopher, and his philosophy today was throw it where they cannot hit it. And boy, oh boy, was that philosophy ironclad. 7 1/3, 4 hits, 1 earned, and then Justin Turner chipping in and doing the little things. And a pinch hit appearance for Michael Busch, and that was big. It plates Ian Happ, and then Ryan Presley. Pure gasoline right down Broadway. Jake Cronenworth, thanks for playing a 2-run W. That is the final result. 3-1 in the series opener, and the Cubs, they continue to roll. They're now 3-1 in series openers, and they won their last 3 of the exact same kind, just like that. So pull up a chair. It's time to roll. This is Cubs Post Game Live. We're presented by Yuengling, America's oldest brewery. I'm Cole Wright. That's our Hall of Famer, Elise Menaker, and that's the Chicagoland Hall of Famer, Cliff Floyd, the 17-year big leaguer. And Cliff, Elise, you guys know when you're out there on the field and it's a little bit cold, you need to do all the little things the right way. And Cliff, from what we saw from this Cubs team, they did do all those little things.
They really did. And I think what the biggest thing for me is they're now 27 walks in the last 4 games. So their at-bats have been off the charts. They're not chasing. They put Randy Vasquez, in a situation where he had to make pitches early. And I just thought that they had quality at bats. Even though you didn't get as many runs as you wanted in the first inning, that took its toll on Randy to get him out the game. But I think overall, a day like this, cold, wind blowing in, you're not going to hit any homers. We saw some balls hit, on the screws. But as far as just having those quality at bats and gutting out, a couple runs was huge for them.
Absolutely. We saw Maldonado, the only home run of the game. That one was just 365 feet. It barely squeaked out. But the one thing that's currently jumping off the page, the Cubs right now, they're 6-0 with a lead after 8. Now, things they did get a little bit interesting in the 9th inning, but at least that's the difference. You have to close out and win games like this.
Yeah.
What they were not able to do a season ago, 28 one-run losses.
Well, yeah, and I think even just doing the little things right, because I was with you after the first inning. I thought against a team like this,
I was there too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did actually say it to you as well.
You was
In all
eating
fairness.
everything
You're
that they
right.
had over there.
You were busy eating. But you knew what I said, which is I didn't know at that point if they should have gotten a couple more runs in that situation against a team like this. They didn't need it, and that's especially because Shota goes 7 1/3. I mean, that was a huge part of it, the way that Shota pitched and shut down the Padres' offense. I mean, then you add to the Cubs, they're winning in different ways to start this season. So you see the bats last series, but in this series you don't get that. Change of weather, wind blowing in, 7 walks, as you mentioned, in this game. They had only 3 hits. And so I like the base running in this game. I like the defense in this game.
Yeah.
Late in this game, you had a nice catch by PCA, huge stop. Otherwise, if it rolls by him, who knows what happens. Matt Shaw, great. That's a difficult play at third base. And so I think that's exactly what you're looking for. It's not, you don't need to beat this team 10-1. I mean, what you did is enough.
Yeah,
gets the job done, and you get the win.
And former third baseman, at least.
I appreciate it so much because you're taught that. You're taught that if you can pick it up on the short hop, but it's not easy. It takes a lot of practice. Good scoop, good hands, good timing, just a really smooth play.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate that so much, especially just even the instinct to go over, cut it off, get it on the short hop, throws it across. Yeah, it's just a really nice play.
Yeah, and Cliff, you and I, we were up there in center field right before the game started. We were watching Matt Shaw. He was putting in that early work, and one of the things he was working on is that ball to his glove side, going to the left, and boy, oh boy, it came into play today.
Yeah, the work is something that, you sort of don't take for granted, right? When you go out there, you work, it's cold. You got to make yourself, you got to want those situations. You got to want to go out there and put the work in, not just have sort of eye-wash type work, right? It's working smart. Understand, you got Justin Turner over there. If you don't take anything from him, then you probably, missing the boat on all the information that he has, and he's had in his tenure at the big league level. So all the things that you want from Matt Shaw, you're getting, and I think, at the end of the day, it's going to pay off for Matty Shaw in the long run.
And not for nothing, though, this is his second instance of taking extra fielding practice. He was already out there by himself. There was not one other person on the field. What was Matt Shaw doing? He was taking glove side. He was taking right down the middle. He was going the throwing hand side. Just the fact that he's out there putting in that extra work ahead of opening day at Wrigley Field, it speaks volumes.
Well, I really go back to last season when he got the full season at third base, and that's where he's seeing a lot of different situations. And you're also feeling out in game speed your own boundaries, meaning how far can you go across the field? What does my arm get me? How quick do I have to get the throw? Because that's going to dictate how you move your feet. And then when he's getting in the reps before the game and just pretty much all the time, I always was doing that because you want to make sure, or try at least, to see everything you can so that in a game you feel like you've at least had that play at some point. Because if you haven't seen it in a game, you want to see it in practice. And so one way or another, Matt Shaw's been getting the work in. I think last year was the big jump for him, and now he's just doing like the repetition and getting the experience.
Matt Shaw, he got it. He knew that today Elise and I were representing gold for a Gold Glove. It didn't have anything to do with the San Diego Padres, and Matt Shaw went out there. And he certainly supported his starting pitcher, Shota Imanaga. Cliff, when you're done hating, we're going to talk about the throwing philosopher and everything that he was able to do today. 7 1/3, 4 hits, just one thin earned run, and 0 free passes. He certainly whittled down on that, what we saw in Japan.
Yeah, he's not going to walk you. It's just what he does not do. And, you know, when you talk about facing him, he hides the ball so well. We always talk about that. Well, at least me now is talking about this perceived velocity and how his ball gets up on these hitters. It's just fun to watch him go about his business. You know, he gets into those runs where he'll strike out 3, 4 in a row, even though he might get into a count that's favorable for the, for the hitter. He is going to make a pitch to get himself back into that bat and put you away. I mean, he was phenomenal today.
Yeah, the longest start of his Chicago Cubs career. Something tells me he has a CG coming down the pipe this season. Don't want to be too presumptuous, but we know how he can pitch, and when he is at his best, he is really, really good. Just like Cole. How about that? Cole Pearson, 66.
Hey, Cole.
I love that. Cubs win. What an outing from Shota, flying the W from T-Town, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Oh, this. Look at that. Ooh, a little anime style. The Cubs prevailed over the pesky Padres this opening day, 3-1. Excellent effort by the Cubbies. And Shota Imanaga be here for it. Oh, we were here for it, and so was Shota Imanaga, Edwin, and T-Mac, and they're having a conversation right now. Go.
Longest outing of your career. What made you so efficient today?
長いと言ってもワンアウトしか取ってないんで、でもそれでもバックが守ってくれたんで、こうやって長い回投げられました。
When you were walking out for your bullpen to throw some pitches before the game, describe the feeling that the fans gave you that reception.
まずこのリグレーに帰ってきたなと実感しましたし、僕2年目ですけども、そういう選手に声援を送ってくれてすごく感謝してます。
What has stood out to you about the offense so far this season?
本当にどっからでも点が取れますし、ヒットが出なくても今日みたいに点数が入るんで。
Thank you.
Finding a way to score to support Shota Imanaga. That was the blueprint today, and the efficiency from Shota Imanaga, at least 26 batters faced, 20 of them saw first pitch strike.
Yeah, and back to Cliff's point of the no walk. So in 17 career starts at Wrigley, 114 strikeouts, 12 walks.
That's pretty good. As I do the air math, that's as solid as it comes. And for him to go out there and
What are
Cliff,
you laughing at?
Yeah.
He's air mathing over there.
But just the fact that fastball, even though it's lower half of the 90s, it has that appearance that it gets up on you a whole lot quicker, and it sometimes seems as if it's 96 to 97 miles an hour when it's really only 92, 93.
Yeah, but what we always talk about is where the location of his fastballs are. You said in our pregame. You said when it's up, get it up, right? It's not about getting it up in the zone where it's hittable, but he's putting it in spots where it looks hittable, but it's not, right? For every hitter, when you're in the box and it looks like you can hit it at the top of the zone, typically you're either going to pop that ball up or you're going to miss it. And he's able to execute when he wants, in any situation. And when he has a good feel of the baseball and it's coming off the fingertips with confidence, it's going to be a long day for any opposing team he's facing.
And even late, he was going up, and then Padres hitters were chasing
Yeah.
it. And so he just kept kind of climbing the ladder, and it was working to his favor, because especially when he has the splitter down, and then both are working.
Good luck.
And then they're late in the game in hit mode, trying to make contact, you can really bait them, and that's what he did later in the game.
Yeah, Shota Imanaga, he is an absolute artist when it comes to changing that eye level, and he's really not in the business of giving up home runs to cats who hit in the 9-hole. Alex Coleman, oh yeah, ace is wild. Shota Imanaga in gift form, no doubt about it. We feel good about him, so does Alex, and so does his skipper, Craig Counsell, with more on Shota's Afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, you go a full major league season, and people have, you know, that it's just a good pitcher. So he's making pitches. And that's what it's about. And he makes pitch, and then he makes another pitch, and he makes another pitch, and you know, he doesn't make mistakes. And that's a pretty good formula.
You go 7 innings, even once for a starter nowadays is
Yeah.
rare. He's done it twice already in 3 starts. How important is that just for this team?
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, one, it means you're getting a heck of an effort. There's obviously some residual effects for your bullpen. You know, you're putting this deep into the game and kind of getting to this right place in the bullpen. So, you know, he's had his last 2. I mean, all 3 starts have been awesome, and he's off to a great start. And you know, I thought he pitched just really, really well today. Again, just again, just throwing quality pitches after quality pitch, and that makes it tough on the other team.
Speaking of quality, you guys only get 3 hits, but you have plenty of quality at bats within that to, you know, eke out a win. I mean, that kind of has been the way the team has gone so far this year.
Yeah, I mean, look, the big play again today was a base running play. I mean, there's no question about it. I mean, I think we've scored 6 runs for sure after beating a force out at second base. 10 games in, we got 6 runs from beating force outs at second base. Like, that's a real credit to the guys, and it's a real credit to just a detail that, you know, we might go 30 games and that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter one bit. But when you can make that big of an impact with some base running plays, I think the guys in there feel like, you know, it's important. And they've shown it, and we've won games because of it. So, you know, it was a great effort by Seiya. It's great attention to detail, and you know, we get a run there, and then we make an error, and it's on a day that's pretty tough to score, and we got good pitchers on the mound. You know, it held up.
Seiya isn't usually very demonstrative. Like, what's it like seeing him celebrate that?
Well, I mean, that's what's great about the play, is that it's a play that kind of makes you accountable to each other, and you do it for each other, and that's what's so fun about it. You know, it makes you feel connected to the guys, because it's a play you do for your team, right? And so he felt that, you know what I mean, and our guys have felt that.
Can you connect it to the error that comes right after it? Because who knows, maybe
It's just giving yourself another out, another swing. You know, I don't think it caused the error, but it just, who knows what happens, right? Just giving yourself another swing.
There was so much talk about how much the wind was blowing in last season, and is this like something you guys prepared for? How to win games when the wind's blowing in?
I mean, you expect to do it in April. I mean, you expect this is how you're going to have to play here in April. But I think, yeah, we have talked about it. I think and the guys believe in it, and I think the base running stuff's just a little example of it. You know, it's expected in April baseball here.
The play that Shaw makes in the 9th inning might be overlooked, but all the work that your coaches have put in with him and him himself really seems to have paid off, at least from today.
Yeah, I mean, those are big plays, 9th inning plays, and you got to want the ball hit to you. And he made a nice play, absolutely. It's an important play, and those are confidence-building plays, absolutely.
I think Ryan had 3 ball counts in every hitter. Does it just feel for an older guy this early in the season, cold day?
Yeah, I mean, he did. I think, you know, there's some caution to the right hitters, but I think it's getting ahead of those hitters is what's important. Probably just to fall behind initially is, you know, first pitch strikes was probably something that, you know, I think he can do a better job of. But you know, he kept making pitches, and he had an idea, and he doesn't lose his head, and doesn't let the game speed up on him, and that's from being out there a lot. And he, you know, ends up making really good pitches.
visually sometimes he makes some plays that look routine, but the one where he tracked that.
Yeah, I mean, really hard play. I mean, there's a cement wall out there, and yeah, it's in this case, like, you're making a play and you got to make a play without hurting yourself. I mean, really, like, that's with that wall out there, right? So it was absolutely a great catch.
Place knocks, like we said, very timely hitting, but it was all about defense. And Elise, what does defense do?
Defense. Wins games.
It does. It wins championships as well.
Championships. It can do that too. If you would ask me as a player, I said offense. But
Okay.
we're going to talk some
Exactly.
defense because it really shined
I like that.
in this game. Just like Ian said, did the little things right. Cliff, you can laugh. It's so
No,
funny. Okay. So when you take a look at early on in this game, the plays that were made, we saw this in the highlight. I mean, the ground that was covered. It's probably getting a little scary as you get closer to that wall, and then not fun. Like you said before the game, but there's no IV in there. Cliff, you know.
Yeah, I've run into it a couple times, and
not good. Yeah, doesn't
not
feel
great.
great. And then we've seen this play a lot from Hap. He gets close to the wall. He always feels it out really well. He doesn't even really almost need to take a peek at this point. He knows where he is on the field and makes a nice catch because that's not easy too, because that's also hard.
yeah, I would have definitely dropped that ball.
Yeah. Okay, well, you got a Gold Glover, a few-time Gold Glover out there and left. This play really heads up by Dansby. I mean, we continue to see this over and over. Cronenworth going on contact. Dansby heads up, makes the play at home, saves a run. I mean, just good rundown, easy, limit the throws, tag. Shaw's like, I'm faster than you, I'm going to...
Oh, that is music to our ears. Shota, he shared that sentiment last year, and then he went back this year and doubled down on it. Cliff, I think it's a safe assumption that Shota Imanaga, not only does he love pitching for the Chicago Cubs, he loves pitching for the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field specifically, doesn't he?
I mean, absolutely. And why wouldn't you, right? I mean, this is what it's all about. I mean, when you think about, and like I said I walk to this park every day. When I say the park, studios, right? I walk past the stadium.
Park, okay.
People are everywhere in the neighborhood. I mean, this is the best baseball, you know, in my opinion, out there. I mean, you just don't see this anywhere in the league. So when you get a chance to come to Wrigley Field, this is what it's all about. You might get one time in, you might be a season ticket holder, but when you come out here, it's just a different, you know, a feel. Everything about it is on point. It don't matter Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, day games. People are out here in droves, you know, coming to see their Cubbies. So it's a good atmosphere.
At least quality work. Shota Imanaga, the ERA right now, it's under $1.
Yeah, I laugh every time because when Edwin hears everything, like before we have it translated, like see him start to laugh.
Yeah.
Then we're all waiting.
It's genuine.
Like, yeah.
Absolutely.
So I love it because also, like, Shota goes out there and as much as he can dominate, he has fun. He enjoys the game. He's part of what makes it fun.
Yeah.
Like when you come to the ballpark, like coming to the home opener today and you know that Shota's on the mound, I mean, that is part of the fun of the day. There are moments where even as cold as it can be, you kind of forget that because there's good baseball happening, getting good pitching, and Shota's just kind of leading the way with that. So he's been really fun to watch, and I think especially the way he's starting his second season. I love how each time the walks have gone down, none in this game, but went 4-2-0, and so that was something that I remember I looked at in the first start, and I think, especially against a team like this, that was a big help.
And as a hitter, man, the poise he has, it's just something where, you know, you're looking out there and it's just not fun to face guys like him. It's really not. And it also goes into the Cubs organization for finding guys that can be in this situation, that can pitch in this environment, because it's just not easy, right?
And using your strengths.
Yeah, when you talk about different markets, New York, Chicago, different markets are going to bring different feels, different anxiety, different pressure. And when you're watching him pitch, it just seems to come easy for him. And I know it's not. I know it's not easy. I mean, he's not overpowering. He has to hit his spots, but he makes pitches consistently, and he lives for the moment. When you live for the moment, you know, it just tends to be what we talk about with Cal Tucker. Yeah. It's just like, you know what? And you watching him, looking, I'm like, are you fronting? Are you not? Are you serious? And nothing phases these guys. That's what you need.
Thank you. And so those are the things. I mean, when this is a team that you know offensively, it can snowball on you because they have the power that if they get runners on, they've got the pop. You eliminated that by making all of these little plays and just shutting them down.
Yeah, and in that rundown at third, Cliff, one thing I want to know from you is just how cool, calm, and collected did Miguel Amaya look? He looks like a completely different player this season.
Yeah, well, it's all about positioning, right? Like you got to come out in front of the plate, catch the baseball, and then make sure you run back. If any mishap happens in that situation, the guy's back on third base. He's not scoring. So, you know, you're taught to hold the ball as long as you can as a catcher and run him back to third base. Now, the best thing about Matt Shaw in that situation is you close the gap without closing it too much, right? So I think they did it perfectly. You work on it in spring training every single day. Then you see teams come out and go, like they've totally forgotten how to, play the game of baseball and do the little things right. And those are teams. And actually, we just saw a team in Sacramento do it. I mean, the A's just didn't look good defensively, and it literally hurt them in 3 games as they got swept. But when you flip it to what the Cubs are doing, it's all about the little things, but they're putting emphasis on making sure they're out there before the game, doing the stuff that you have to do, work on it, get it together. So when the pitchers are making pitches and pitching to contact, they're not afraid to pitch to contact because they know their defense is going to pick them up. That's what you have to have.
Yeah, they know that the defense can keep you in each and every single game, and it was lovely to see Miguel Amaya take that inside throwing lane. Matt Shaw was on the corresponding end of that one, and that's part of the reason why the Cubs continue to win. They rattled off 4 straight W's and most consecutive wins in Wrigley Field openers since 1916. Like we said, they've done it 4 times in a row, and that hasn't been done since 1950 through 1953. PCA wasn't even a thought back then. Either was Shota Imanaga, but right now, PCA, he's thinking about Shota and his whale of a day.
I mean, I think he got himself into, or I don't know about getting himself into, but I think he was in a couple of tighter situations and made the right pitch. We made the right play, and I feel like you tend to see that a lot with Sho. It's always pretty clean baseball. It's rarely that hard of contact regularly or anything like that. So I say it a lot, but Shota just gives us a chance to make plays, and I think that we have a really good team for that. So Shota did what Shota does. He got us involved, and that's all we can kind of really ask for from him.
Base running has been such a huge emphasis for you guys today, and for Seiya to take that back on second. Can you just describe the amount of focus that the entire team has this year to be a good base running team and how that's impacted the group?
Yeah, that's definitely a feeling throughout the entire roster. But once we start seeing more and more guys do it, we're going to see more and more games like this that are close be 2 runs instead of 1 run, and I firmly believe that. So that was a huge play in this game, obviously. But yeah, like you said, we're definitely prepared to make that play. We're ready to make that play, and that is only going to be really good for us as we go.
You made a really similar base running play, and we see him pop up and be really fired up. How do you describe that feeling of being able to force the issue there?
I mean, it's one of those baseball feelings that that definitely brings some emotion out of you, and doesn't happen all that much. So being able to push the envelope and put pressure on a really good infield. I think if we're able to do it against them, we're going to be able to do it against anybody. But you saw how the cookie kind of crumbled there, how it snowballed, and I think Seiya is a pretty good representation of how that may have started.
You had big coach and seeing Shota acknowledge that. How did it feel?
I mean, Shota's arguably the most gracious, respectful person I've ever come across. So he always makes sure to thank us, but don't know if that's completely necessary. He's out there busting his balls and making all these 5, 6, 7 inning outings for all of us, just like we're making plays for him. So I love getting acknowledgement from him, but I love making plays for him even more.
Were you able to pull up in time without, so you didn't get the brunt of that ball? It seems like you kind of brushed up against it, but not really as bad as it could have been.
Yeah, I mean, I hit it.
Can you walk us through how you're tracking that ball and making sure you don't hurt yourself? You've seen that happen every year.
I just kind of pulled up at the end. I think once I kind of recognized that it wasn't going to... I think the hardest part about that play is always going to be the basket. But the trajectory kind of tells you how that ball is going to play. So I pulled up at the end and was still able to have enough room to make the play. It's great. That was an electric crowd that I love playing in front of so much, and it's always fun winning at Wrigley, so I hope we get to do a lot more of that.
And you got to hand them their first loss.
That was their first loss? They were also undefeated? Sorry. Yeah, it's a good ball club. I've really enjoyed playing against them over the last couple of years, so it always feels good to get a win like that, but that's what you're going to get when Shota's on the mound.
He knows that wins always feel fantastic, especially when you're able to do a little bit of taunting like that. Makes everything look routine. Like you said, 30% catch probability on that. Chances are it means it does not get caught. And we talked to Pete earlier, and he said he wants to go for at least one bunt hit a week.
No, this is your moment, Cole.
Well, Pete clearly
like
loves to win more than he hates bunting because he knows that that's a part of the game that he can definitely incorporate as fast as he is. If he's able to just lay one down either way, whether it's a push bunt, a drag bunt, that's going to elevate his batting.
Yeah, you know what? And we need to thank you for having him bunt with 2 strikes. I didn't
tell him to do that.
Well, I don't know what you told him, but whatever you told him, let's not tell him to do that again.
Okay.
Because we don't like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we like the bunts before it gets 2 strikes, and then we figure out because he can hit.
But like the first at bat, I would have liked to have seen him take more pitches because at that point they were working a lot of walks. I think especially when you're not on or as on, he's not at his best right now at the plate, right? So I would like to see him take more pitches in that situation, not just because of the situation itself, but I think it would help him. I remember I would just want to see pitches.
Well,
like I like being aggressive, but at some point help yourself by just tracking it and like getting your timing and then go.
And not for nothing, Cliff.
Hold on.
How much will a bunt get your eyes going when your eyes aren't exactly where you want them to be? If you're able to sit there and track and at least pull a few back and maybe lay one down, you'll be right back in the game.
Well, yeah, you hope so, but back to your point with that bat against Randy Vasquez, Randy made the first pitch strike after throwing every first pitch for a ball.
Straight balls.
And he threw a first pitch strike. Now the problem with that is
I would still take that.
I know, and I get that, but Boo, made a point, to him swinging at 85% of the first pitches, right? So now you're in your head, right? This guy who can't throw a strike finally throws a strike, and now I take it, right? The best pitch you're gonna get the bat. It's just frustrating when you struggle, is my point. It's just, he's trying to find it. He's doing some different things. The game speeds up. And I asked him, when we talked to him, the question I asked him was, is the game slowing down? And he goes, yes, but I'm still in that sophomore slump. Like, I'm still trying to find myself. And I know exactly where he's at. I've been there. I've done that. This is no time to sort of, get into your fields or start pressing. No, but you want to find it as soon as possible. He's going to bring things to the table that's going to help the team win every single day.
Yes.
And to get better, I don't know. I don't know if it's continuously going to the cage and swinging until you get it.
Right.
It's a matter of what the other guys are doing. It's the less chase. To your point, less chase, but when you actually are putting the bat on the good, on the baseball, the results of it is he's out front too much, and that's what he has to fix. The swing is there. Like when you're watching Tucker and these swings are there, but when you're actually trying to do damage is where he is sort of flailing at the baseball, unsure of how good he is. That's the problem. Now, once he gets that right, then everything will start clicking because he tried to bunt twice and then get him down. You know what I mean, Cole? Like you can try to bunt. If you are seeking bunt, you should be able to bunt. That's how good he is, right? Hand-eye coordination is probably the best thing he has going for himself. So this little thing he in right now is nothing when he was in the spring. Right. I think he has to slow down a little bit as far as just understanding that he's going to have some. Yeah, he's thinking himself into this rut.
Yeah.
And that's what happens in this game. Think less, go and react.
Yeah.
And I like how his defense is not being affected.
No, it won't be.
Not at all. Not at all.
No.
Pete Crow Armstrong, you're going to hope to see him stay back and locked in on that backside a little bit more. It's going to keep him from some of those soft contact knocks that we've seen over the last few. Oh, the standings. Oh, how about that? 6-4 out in front of those St. Louis Cardinals. Fans down there in the gateway to the West, they hate to see that. And the Cubs and the Redbirds, the only 2 teams above 500 as it currently stands in the Central. We feel good. So does Kyle Tucker. And here's King Tuck on Game 1 in Wrigley as a member of these Cubs.
以前この歓声をアラームにすることができたらきっと寝起きもいいんじゃないかっていう話をここでさせてもらったことがあるんですけど、それは大きな間違いだなって今日気づいて、きっとこの大歓声をアラームにしてしまったらずっと聞いていたいから、多分僕は球場に遅刻してくるかなと思います。
今永投手の冷静な表情の裏には計算し尽くされた駆け引きがありました。投球を決め、さらに次の投球も決める、その一貫した姿勢が今日も勝利をもたらしました。彼の17試合での驚異的な奪三振数114、四球わずか12という数字は偶然ではありません。彼の投球術から目が離せません。これからも MLB の最新情報をいち早くお届けいたします。高評価とチャンネル登録で応援していただけると嬉しいです。次回もお見逃しなく。ありがとうございました。